Hi everyone. The poem I would like to read for you today was published in FemAsia and it's called How Dare They. I want to say two things about this poem before I begin. The first is that the line, How dare they, with all its ferocity and all its anger and all its pain and charge, came to me from another very young poet who I have had the privilege to teach once, who today is a fierce feminist journalist working for gender justice. I think she knows who she is, but I don't want to take names here. I just want to acknowledge that the ferocity of that line reached me. And that's where this poem emerged from, like a fount pierced by something. The second thing that I want to say about this is when this poem was published and I shared it, one of my another ex student reached out to me and said that this is a poem that made her cry and she would like to share it with a family member who has gone through severe domestic violence and abuse. Of course, it broke my heart to hear it, but what I loved about what she said was that she was really angry. And she said, How dare that man come to our house with a barat, with all the finery, pretending to be a good person who wants to take care of my sister and then do this to her. So I felt like I owed her and I thought of her and I will think of her as I read this poem. So this is, in a way, a response to that conversation. And finally, I want to acknowledge my poet and artist friend who read this and said it is like an anthem. Sure, it is. It is written like that for women, even trans folks, but women especially, and those who identify as women, who have been fighting for far too long for the same thing, for basic human rights in this country and in so many other places, but especially in this country, where they continue to be pilloried, shamed, attacked, and so on. And the only question that comes to mind really is how dare men do this? And women who support patriarchy and men do this to us. So I want to acknowledge all three women as a source and as a continuation of this poem of mine. It's called How Dare They? How dare they tell her what she may be, born dead or unfree? How dare they tell her not to whistle, or how her mouth curls sexily as she speaks of freedom from their bottled notions of beauty? How dare they tell her what shape her breasts with which she fed her daughter, fondled in pleasure and held in pain, must and can be? How dare they tell her what to wear and where and how on her body to wear it? The cloth must go over the bottom, not her head. The legs must go through the holes, and the denim must be tight here, not just there. How dare they tell her where she must sit and with whom and for how long? How dare they tell her just as she raises a foot, there is a threshold that she may not cross? How dare they draw a line before her and lie to her about the fact that her body, her needs, her screams of joy or rage to her alone belong? How dare they modulate her pitch with a whore, crazy, or bitch? How dare they not acknowledge the truth that what they think is their right is a plain wrong? How dare they not know it is not their place to tell her about her place? Anywhere and everywhere is hers to stand upon. How dare they teach her that it is okay for them to touch, lean, grab, interrupt, ogle, explain, insert, thrust, cut, sidle up, sell, threaten, brush against, tear, pierce, dismiss, lock up, push, patronize, reduce, rape, or take what is not theirs, never theirs, but hers and hers alone. How dare they mask it as respect, tradition, culture, when it is hate, colonization, and murder, and burglary in plain sight? How dare they make her fight for what ought to be as taken for granted as the air we breathe to survive? How dare they pretend to not know when their every act of depravity shows that they're afraid that the end to the war on women, called patriarchy, is in sight. She is here to burn doubt, glow in its embers light as she seizes back her every right. How dare they? Thank you.